Sagittarius, even a witch feels sorrow for what your enemies did to you. There are moments in life when you suddenly realize, you have traveled a very long journey. Not just with your feet, but with all the courage, with all the silent wounds you have carried alone. And then, perhaps on a deep, still night, you find yourself wondering, why is it that, despite all the good you have given, there are still those who choose to hurt you? Why is it that kindness cannot always shield us from the arrows of betrayal? If you are hearing these words today, perhaps you are the one the universe has chosen to whisper a sacred truth to. What your enemies once did to you, somehow, someday, they too will have to bow their heads in sorrow. Not because you are weak, but because the light within you is so powerful. It forces even the darkest souls to confront the shadows within themselves. Stay with me through this journey, because in the next 30 minutes, we will unveil an ancient astrological secret. Something you may have never heard before. Why, in the soul map of Sagittarius, even those who inflict pain upon you ultimately cannot escape the seeds they have sown. A story about light, about faith, and about how destiny will always protect those who choose to live true to their divine calling. If you are ready, affirm the strength of your soul by commenting, "I embrace my sacred light." Because every word you speak now is not just a sound. It is a doorway opening toward your greatest destiny. And if what you hear today touches your heart, do not forget to leave a like, and share this video, so that the light may reach those still searching for a torch in their darkest nights. There is something very strange, something only those who have lived long enough, and loved deep enough, can truly feel. True light never needs to shout to exist. It simply needs to be. Like the way a quiet fire warms an entire room on a freezing night. The soul of a Sagittarius burns not with a blinding glare, but with a deep, gentle light that can never be extinguished. No matter how much loss, betrayal, or misunderstanding life throws at them, that light continues to smolder, steadily guiding themselves, and those wise enough to see it. As an astrologer who has watched thousands of birth charts over 50 years of my life, I can tell you with reverence, Sagittarius souls are not born merely to live for themselves. They are born to be a part of something greater, something vaster. A dream, a horizon, a sacred call that transcends the smallness of ego. And no matter how much they try to forget it amidst the clamor of earthly life, the flame within their hearts never truly dies. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion, of cosmic wisdom, of faith and grace. But it is not an expansion for show. It is expansion for connection, for healing, for inspiring others. A true Sagittarius always carries in their eyes a distant gaze, as if seeing a miracle that ordinary people cannot perceive. And indeed, they do. They feel what ordinary logic cannot explain. They read the silent language of souls. They listen to the whispers only the purest hearts can hear. I have met Sagittarians who have risen from the depths of loss, from the deepest betrayals, and still, they chose to keep believing. Not because they were naive, not because they were unaware of the world's darkness, but because they understood. To refuse love is to refuse the very essence of their sacred being. Their inner light is so fierce that even after countless attempts to extinguish it, it bursts forth again, as if the very heavens must stand in awe. And you know, it is precisely because of this light that Sagittarius often becomes the target of those driven by fear and pettiness. Because light always unsettles darkness. An open heart always makes closed hearts uncomfortable. Steadfast faith always makes doubtful souls feel lost. Thus, it is no wonder that the life of a Sagittarius is often filled with moments of attack, misunderstanding, exile. Yet it is in those very moments that their true beauty shines, like a torch defying the fiercest storms. If you are a Sagittarius, or if you carry a Sagittarius heart, remember this. Your worth is not determined by who understands you. Your worth lies in daring to live true to the light within you. Even if no one sees it. Even if no one acknowledges it. Because, in the end, light does not need to be recognized to exist. Light exists because it is light. And I want to ask you, with all the respect I have for your soul, have you ever, even once in your life, felt the need to dim your light, just to be accepted? If so, do not hesitate to share your story in the comments. Because this space, this journey, was created to honor that light. To remind you, you do not need to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. When I gaze into the constellations, I see a miraculous truth. The journey of a Sagittarius always moves from trial to awakening. From losses that seem unbearable, they ignite a vitality that nothing can extinguish. Because at their core, they are hope itself. They are the unwavering belief that no matter how dark the sky becomes, there will always be a star, waiting for those brave enough to lift their eyes and search for it. There are lessons in life that only the bravest souls are permitted to learn. Forgiveness is one of them. Believing when there is no reason to believe is one of them. And continuing to love after your heart has been shattered, that is the highest lesson of all. Sagittarius, somehow, always carries within them this miraculous ability. They do not only revive themselves. They revive all those fortunate enough to walk even a part of the journey beside them. If you are hearing these words, I believe, nothing is by accident. Perhaps you are one of those flames. Or perhaps, you are searching for a flame to remind you that you are still alive. Either way, I want you to know, the light you are guarding, even if it is just a tiny flicker, is powerful enough to dissolve an entire sky of darkness around you. You are enough. You have always been enough. And do you realize? Every time you choose to believe, every time you choose to forgive, every time you choose to keep walking even when you do not know if anyone awaits you at the end, you are engraving your name among the constellation of the great souls. The souls who need no applause, who need no recognition, but who, by the way they live, have made this world softer, kinder, more worthy of love. So if today, you feel a flame stirring within your heart, let it burn. Believe, you are not alone. Souls who carry light always recognize each other, even among oceans of strangers. If what I have shared touches you, leave a comment. My light has never gone out. Because that declaration, even if only a line of text, can open the door to a new destiny for you. And now, let us step deeper into this journey. Into the place where the universe, in its own sacred way, records every tear, every laugh, every wound you have carried, and transforms them into the stars that guide your soul to soar higher and farther than ever before. Life moves according to hidden laws, like underground rivers flowing unseen. Yet they are steady, inevitable, and more just than anything the human eye can perceive. One of these laws is this: no act, however small, ever disappears into nothingness. Every word, every thought, every action plants a seed. And in its own time, it will bear fruit in the future of the one who sowed it. This, I believe, is not merely an ancient astrological truth. It is an eternal principle that anyone who has lived long enough eventually comes to understand. For Sagittarius souls, those who have chosen to carry light into a world often overwhelmed by darkness, this lesson becomes clearer than ever. Not because they are naive enough to trust in human justice, but because through every wound, through every time they rise from the ashes, they deeply feel that true justice does not lie in the courts of men. It is etched into the sacred workings of the universe itself. I have witnessed Sagittarians endure cruelty so ruthless it seemed impossible they could stand again. Betrayed by those they trusted most. Exploited by those they had once given their whole heart to. attacked by souls too afraid to face the brilliance they could not understand. And yet, through it all, they chose silence over vengeance. They chose kindness over bitterness. They chose to walk on, with compassion. Perhaps someone once told you that forgiveness is a sign of weakness. But through the lens of ancient astrology, forgiveness is the ultimate strength. The strength of souls who know they are seen, who know they are protected, who know they are upheld by laws greater than any petty judgment. Jupiter, the ruling planet of Sagittarius, is not just the symbol of expansion and opportunity. It is the emblem of divine justice. A justice that is never rushed, but always perfect in its timing. When a Sagittarius soul is wronged, it is Jupiter who records it in the invisible ledger of the universe. And then, at the most unexpected moment, the long arm of destiny restores everything to its rightful place. I have seen those who once caused pain eventually ensnared by their own traps. I have seen those who sowed hatred ultimately left to face the cold loneliness they themselves had sown. Not through violent punishment, but through the silent, precise workings of life's unbreakable laws. If you are listening to these words, and your heart still carries the unhealed scars of injustice, remember this: you do not have to become an avenger. The universe has seen it all. Every tear you shed, every sigh you breathed in solitude, every time you chose love instead of hatred, it has all been recorded. And it will blossom into light within your destiny. I want to ask you, with all the sincerity of someone who has witnessed more than one lifetime's worth of stories, have you ever experienced that moment? That moment when you wanted to shout your pain to the world, to demand justice. But instead, by some quiet strength, you chose to remain kind? If you have, do not hesitate to share your story in the comments. Because even a single courageous voice can inspire hundreds, thousands of other souls who are silently fighting their own battles in the dark. Forgiveness, in the journey of a Sagittarius, is never easy. It is the bravest act of all. The act of affirming that the light within you is stronger than any darkness others tried to place inside your heart. And every time you forgive, every time you refuse to let your soul be deformed by pain, you are lighting a new star in the sky of your spirit. I often tell my younger students, believe in the justice of the universe, even when you cannot see it immediately. Remember this: the pain you endure is never meaningless. It is being forged into wisdom, into compassion, into a light that no darkness can ever taint. And perhaps, the most beautiful part of this story is this: you are not just healing yourself. You are becoming a lighthouse for those who have lost hope. You are living proof that one can endure, can ache, can fall, and yet still rise, still love, still shine. If today, some part of you feels weary, if you are questioning whether the light you are holding is still worth it, please remember, even if you receive no gratitude from the world, every single spark you sow is being recorded in the treasure chest of your soul. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is in vain. And remember this as well: those who have hurt a soul carrying light, they cannot escape. Not because you will curse them, but because the laws of the universe will gently, inevitably restore balance. Slowly, but surely. And while that unfolds, you only need to keep living true to your light. For the reward waiting for you is not just justice, but a heart that grows stronger, purer, and ever more deserving of the miracles ahead. If these words touch your heart, comment below: I believe in divine justice. Because when you speak that aloud, you are not only declaring your faith for yourself, you are strengthening the current of light that is quietly transforming this world. Now, let us go even deeper. Because the journey of a Sagittarius is not only about endurance and forgiveness. It is also about rebirth. It is about rising from the ashes with a power that no force can extinguish. In the next part, we will explore the miracle that unfolds when a Sagittarius overcomes their own darkness and becomes a beacon of hope for the world. There is a kind of light that does not come from dazzling lamps, nor from glittering stages, nor from roaring applause. It is the kind of light born from souls who have walked through the deepest darkness and still chose to love, still chose to believe, still chose to shine. This is the sacred essence of a Sagittarius who has been tempered by the storms of life. Have you ever noticed how there are people who, simply by being present, make a space warmer, steadier, more hopeful? They do not need grand declarations. They do not need to proclaim their strength. It is simply in the way they walk, the way they listen, the way they smile, and suddenly remind others that good still exists. That faith is still worth holding on to. A Sagittarius, once their soul has fully awakened, becomes exactly such a torch. In sacred astrology, we call this phase the blossoming of inner Jupiter. When the lessons of loss, forgiveness, and growth have seeped into every fiber of the soul, the light of Jupiter is no longer random fortune. It becomes a wellspring within, a natural generosity, a sacred wisdom, a healing force. Sagittarius, after enduring the coldest winters of destiny, no longer feels the need to prove anything to the world. They become serene. They understand that the value of a human life is not measured by what one possesses, but by what one gives away, by who one uplifts along the journey. And it is precisely in that space, when they let go of the need to be understood, to be loved perfectly, to be validated by the world, that a great freedom blooms. Not the shallow freedom of doing whatever they please, but the deep, sacred freedom of a soul who knows they belong to the very light that created them. I still remember, during a quiet conversation with a former student, a Sagittarius who had struggled for nearly 2 decades, she looked at me and said, "Teacher, I have lost everything, but I have never felt so free." And in her eyes, I saw something no book, no lecture could ever teach. A soul that had become a torch. A soul no longer afraid of loss, because she had found a treasure that no one could ever take away. Do you know? Every time you choose kindness over bitterness, faith over doubt, openness over retreat, you are nurturing that light within you. Even if the world grows cold, even if life challenges you, the torch within you grows stronger every day. And one day, on a day you least expect it, you will become the light that guides someone else through the darkness of their own storm. If you can feel that flame burning within your heart, let it grow. Do not fear if it sometimes flickers. Even the smallest flame can blaze into a mighty fire, if you continue to nurture it with persistence and love. I invite you, if there has ever been a moment in your life when you felt like just a tiny flicker struggling not to be snuffed out, share your story with us. No matter how small, your story could be the reason someone else finds the strength to keep going. And remember this: Sagittarius is not only a symbol of distant journeys outward, they are the symbol of the profound journey inward. A journey through pain, through darkness, through the wild, uncharted territories of the soul, only to find, at the very end, a light that no force in the universe can ever extinguish. That light is not meant for them alone. It is meant for the whole world. Because every time a Sagittarius fully awakens, a part of the world is redeemed. Through kindness, through unwavering faith, through a quiet light that never fades. If today, you are listening to these words, perhaps you too are being called, not just to live for yourself, but to become the light for those who are searching for a torch to guide their way. If you are ready, leave a comment. I choose to become the light. Because every affirmation now is not just a declaration. It is a vow to your own soul. That you will not give up. You will not extinguish. You will keep burning. And if you wonder what the next chapter holds for a Sagittarius once they become the light, stay with me. Because right after this, we will explore how a Sagittarius can not only illuminate their own path, but open the sacred gates of prosperity, where success is no longer measured in material gains, but in the fulfillment of the soul. Life always reserves a reward far beyond imagination for the courageous souls. Not the reward of ease. Not a journey without storms. But a magnificent destiny, forged from every time you chose to keep walking, even with bloodied feet. And if you are hearing these words now, if your heart is stirring with an emotion too deep to name, trust that it is no coincidence. It is destiny whispering, reminding you, you were not born to vanish into mediocrity. You were born to set a part of this world ablaze, in your own way, in the unstoppable rhythm of your soul. Sagittarius, you are not just the one seeking new horizons. You are the horizon itself. Each time you choose love over hatred, forgiveness over revenge, faith in goodness even through your darkest days, you expand the borders of your own destiny. A destiny no longer confined by what the human eye can see, but forever connected to the eternal light of the universe. I have lived long enough to know, greatness does not come to perfect souls. It comes to the courageous ones, those who dare to fall, and dare to rise again. Those who dare to hurt, and still dare to love. Those who dare to be wounded, and still dare to believe in miracles. And I believe, with everything I have witnessed in my lifetime, that you, with your quiet light and your unyielding heart, are on the path to such a destiny. If today, you feel a new fire awakening inside you, do not rush to smother it with fear or doubt. Let it burn. Keep moving forward, even if the path ahead is still unclear. Because every great soul has once walked through the loneliest, darkest wilderness, before finding the sacred land they were always meant to reach. And I invite you, right now, in this very moment, to claim the great destiny that is waiting for you. Write in the comments, I embrace my great destiny. Let that simple act become the first landmark on your new journey. A journey where you will no longer live merely to survive, but to shine, to love, to leave footprints of light wherever you walk. If what you have heard today has touched your heart, please leave a like, and share this video with those you believe may need even the smallest torch to help them cross their own darkest night. Because when you give away light, the light within you multiplies, becoming stronger, brighter, eternal. And remember, you are never alone on this journey. There are souls, like mine, and many others moving quietly through this world, walking beside you, praying for you, believing in the light you carry. And ahead of you, a new sky is waiting, a new destiny, a new chapter, a journey that only you can write, with your own love, your own light, your own unshakable faith. Life is not measured by the number of times you fall. Life is measured by the number of times you dare to rise again, with a heart that still knows how to love. And you, Dear soul bearing the spirit of Sagittarius, are the most beautiful reminder that true light, even when hidden, can never, ever be extinguished. So walk forward with faith. Live with all the brilliance your soul has been gifted. Because ahead of you, the greatest wonders are waiting. Not in some distant place, but right inside the heart you are so bravely choosing to carry forward.